growing up, I used to always think about like confidence, 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 confidence. When you ask somebody, how do I do this? How to do this? Da, 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 da. People always say that confidence is like the root of everything. And it used to literally, excuse my French, piss me off. It used to piss me off because I'm like, you look up confidence and it says a belief in yourself and your own abilities, right? And it's like, okay, well, I believe, but that don't mean I'm going to win. That don't mean that the person I'm going against doesn't believe as well. It has the confidence as well. But then there's like this thing where people are like, well, you can just see confidence in people. And I'm like, well, that just looks like arrogance. That just looks like being cocky. And as a kid, I used to be extremely cocky because I thought that I was displaying confidence. Here's a secret. I was watching this video the other day, and I think it was by I forget who said this. I think it was like Lena Hermosi, somebody. And if I said her name right, I apologize. But she said that deep down, everybody, in some way, shape, or form, dislikes themselves. So even the person that seems so arrogant and full of themselves and just, there's parts about themselves that they don't like. The thing is that some people, they maximize that. They only focus and fixate on those things versus the other person that they shower themselves with compliments and praise on all the other things in their lives so that they don't hyper focus on the things they don't like. It's really just mindset and perspectives. But I'm just saying that I used to think that when people wore confidence, that it was just arrogance, that confidence can be humble. Confidence can be, confidence can be silent. And sometimes they say too, the loudest person in the room is the most insecure or they lack the most confidence, whatever the case may be. So there is a line in that. So I was always confused when people were talking about confidence because I just couldn't really pinpoint and explain exactly what that even was. And I'm not saying today that I've completely figured this out, but I want to share with you where I'm at in the understanding so far. Because again, I'm somebody that's trying to learn this too, so that I can maximize myself and be the best version of myself. But to do that, I have to learn and understand and comprehend things at a higher level. So when I learn, I'll share with you guys. And when you learn, share with me too, because we're on this journey together, right? So what is that? So I think of confidence now as like a roof, like an overarching, like an umbrella. Just like we say, like mental health. Mental health in itself is such a complex thing because there's so many things that go under that: anxiety, depression, ADHD, trauma, whatever the case may be. Confidence itself is also another house. It's a very important house, right? And in that, it does have to do with your ability to believe in yourself and your own abilities. So how do I build confidence? Well, I can practice being better at my abilities. I can educate myself and be more confident in the things that I know that allows me to then perform at a higher level because I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing because I've practiced it and it's routine, right? That's a part of it too. But that person doesn't necessarily have a walk or a feel of confidence. Why? Because that's something different. Now we call that like aura, right? But there's a masses of things that fall into this, right? And I'm thinking of this. So what else is it? So at the end of the day, we all want to be our authentic self and feel comfortable being our authentic self. And that takes confidence. But we're not being specific enough. What it actually takes to be your full authentic self is it takes boldness. Boldness, right? You have to be bold. Now, boldness goes into an action, right? So you would also say, well, boldness, which we can also say is fearlessness, right? A fearlessness that I'm able to go after and pursue the things that I want to do without fear. I'm able to take action on the things that I want to do without fear. That's confidence, but it's a boldness It is a fearlessness, right? So, for example, starting a YouTube channel takes boldness. You don't know if you're going to win or lose. You don't want to fail. No one doing this wants to fail. No one doing this knows exactly that they're going to succeed. It takes boldness, and that is a form of confidence. So a lot of people watching, they're like, I would love to do that, but I just don't believe I can. Well, you don't know that you can. So when we're talking about the confidence based on you got to do it to get better at it and learn and educate yourself on it so that you can learn, which creates confidence in your understanding and ability to do this thing. But that is not enough. You also need boldness to take action on whatever the heck that you're trying to do. If you're trying to talk to that girl and get her number, that takes boldness, right? To take action. I'm not even talking about what you're going to say when you get there, right? It's talking about the action. Going from thought to action is a confidence ability, but what we are specifically calling it is boldness, right? So I want you guys to make sure that you are practicing being bold. A homegirl of mine was saying that for women in business, that we have to be bold, because if not, people will look over us, walk over us, step over us. They would take advantage of us. And I always wonder, because I was like, man, if more women could just understand this femininity and how powerful it is, and you don't have to do these certain things. But I'm not a girl, I am a man, and I'm looking at it from the perspective of a man, and it really just brightened my eyes when she said that as women we have to be bold. And I went to this event. It was like a book release, and there was an all woman panel. And one of the questions they asked was, what's easier to be, bold or obedient? And I was like, man, this is such a girl question, because I never even thought of those two in comparison as parallels or alternates to be one or the other. Because as men, we don't really think about being obedient. And boldness is something that is already expected of a man to be, right? It's already expected. Somebody breaks into your home, you got to be bold and jump into action. For women, they have to develop that, right? Because they're taught to be obedient. So there's an opposite. Men are taught to be bold, and we have to learn to be obedient, right? Who? To God, right? And to a lot of other things too, if you try to really, really level up in life. Great leaders learn how to follow. That's a whole nother conversation. But women are taught the opposite. They're taught to be obedient, but they have to learn to be bold, because a lot of women get taken advantage of. They get abused. They get stuck in situations and so forth. They have to learn how to be bold. And I'm like, man, that is so profound for me, because it gives me so much understanding on my friend and women, right? But there's a lot of men who still struggle with being bold. Why? Because we live in a world where there's like this alpha male apex thing, right? And a lot of men just don't, they are constantly feeling inferior, less than, or weaker, or smaller than the other men around. So they actually have become more obedient instead of being more bold, which is making them what we would call beta males. It's not the fact that you aren't as talented or smart or wise, whatever the case may be. It's just the fact that you lack boldness. You're not bold. They are. And it's not even that they feel more confident than you. That's the thing. But the world is going to say that they're more confident than you through their boldness, because they can see it. I don't know how you feel in your head. I don't know how confident you are in your abilities and yourself and your competence and so forth. But I do see that this person's taking action, which appears to be more confident than the person who isn't taking action. And that's how people are measuring confidence as well. Right? And then if you do lose, do you crumble? Do you fall? Or are you still comfortable with yourself? How do you handle it? And that shows confidence as well, right? Something to think about. The next thing, And this is really, really important when it comes to confidence. It is your assertiveness. Assertiveness. Now, I didn't know it's almost common sense me saying this out loud, but again, sometimes I think so deep that I just overlook little things, and I just never really connected the two. That assertiveness just ties into confidence, and this is your ability to show confidence in social settings and situations. It is your ability to display confidence in social settings and situations, and it allows you to create boundaries and teach people how they're going to treat you. Teach people how they're going to deal with you, work with you, and so forth, right? See, this is also something that is people can't see again how you feel about yourself, think about yourself, your competency, and so forth, but they can see boldness and they can see your assertiveness. And what does this mean? Do you have the ability to tell someone to stop doing something? Do you have the ability to speak up when you have the right idea? Do you have the ability to to speak up when you have the right direction, the right plan, the right strategy, and so forth? You see, so many people get overlooked because they don't have assertiveness. They just do not speak up when it's time to speak up. And I'm all for being this listener. I'm all for all these things. I'm all for all those things. But everyone has to know how to speak up for themselves. Everyone has to know when it is their time to talk, when it is your time to lead. And you have to be assertive. But see, what happens is in the moments where it's important to be assertive, likely you have to get into a disagreement. You have to create somewhat of an uncomfortable environment. And a lot of people who we would say lack confidence struggle in uncomfortable environments. And so we avoid that confrontation versus somebody who's confident, right? In this manner, they don't avoid the confrontation. They they walk into it with boldness and assertiveness, which makes them appear 100 times more confident than the person who has more belief in themselves, more competent. But I would even say, do you have the belief in yourself if you're not able to be bold and assertive, right? And I'm sure there's other layers to confidence, but I've just added these layers. This is what I would call public confidence, public displays of confidence, boldness, and assertiveness. So here's the thing. Most people struggle with assertiveness because worst case scenario, you're afraid of somebody punching you in the mouth. You're afraid of being punched in the face. Because what's the worst that can happen? Literally dying. I'm not laughing, I'm just saying because it's likely that it's not about to happen, especially in a work environment, especially in a lot of cases, this is not going to happen. I'm not telling you guys to be foolish when it comes to being assertive, but I'm telling you to be assertive, right? Um, Assertiveness does not mean aggressive, right? Because a lot of times when people are trying to defend themselves, whatever, then they become very aggressive. Now, assertiveness is not aggressiveness, that's aggression. But assertiveness also isn't overly emotional. So you don't want to appear overly emotional either when you're being assertive. It is more of a standing of my ground. Hey, when you do this, it makes me feel this because X, Y, and Z. Right? I'm setting this straight so that you can change your behavior around me or towards me or whatever the case may be. I'm not being aggressive with you. People are usually going to defend themselves, and that's okay. But we don't want to be aggressive. We don't want to be emotional. We don't want to be condescending. We don't want to be rude. We don't want to be anything like that, right? Because too much emotion can also appear weak. I know it's like there's so many rules to this stuff. It's like, dude, who even came up with this thing? But this is how people process people and emotions and things like that. And I want you guys to be aware of this so that you can be more confident, be bold, be assertive, right? And it raises your self-respect for yourself. Assertiveness. It says that this person respects themselves and they're not going to let anybody just do anything to them, around them, towards them, whatever the case may be. It's important. And the reason why I say punch in your face is the worst thing that can possibly happen because most people are just not going to kill anybody. A lot of people are afraid to fight. They're afraid to get hurt. They're afraid to get embarrassed. whatever the case may be. So I want people to become more comfortable facing their fears. And we could talk about this more in another video, but I want people to get more comfortable with facing their fears. Because once you do that, there's not much left that can stop you or prevent you. Because understand that the enemy, Lucifer is the one that is trying to want you to be fearful and not step into things. So if I can get you to shrink yourself because you're afraid, well then I'll just do that every time. And we can't allow ourselves to play life small, right? We just can't do that. So you have to challenge your fears. You have to challenge your fears. So myself, I just started training in boxing. One, why? Because I said what I said in the beginning. I said, first of all, confidence is going to come from your belief in your own ability and in yourself. And also that can come from just being more knowledgeable, more competent about something. So most people have never trained any sort of discipline. I've done like Taekwondo before, but I wanted to do boxing, you know? And most people just don't know that. So I'm already more knowledgeable than most people already with a discipline. And what better is there to learn than things that are practical, things that I can actually apply to my life? I love learning things that I can apply to my life and move forward more equipped to go through life. So learn how to box. Learn how to box. Most people that you're talking to, they do not know how to box. They don't know how to fight from a form of discipline. And I don't care what it is. Taekwondo, Muay Thai, karate, jujitsu, whatever it is, take on a discipline and watch how comfortable you get with being uncomfortable. Watch how impervious you become to fear. Just watch, and then it's going to help you become more assertive. It's going to help you become more bold. Why? Well, when it comes down to it, if we have to get in a fight, I'm perfectly okay with getting in a fight. And not that for me myself that I wasn't before. I've been in a lot of fights growing up, but it's like that's so far removed that you are also just not trying to overstep and whatever the case may be. And it's just like it's not about being prepared to fight. It's about being comfortable in uncomfortable environments. It's about removing fear. And the more you do that with a higher level, for example, I would like to go skydiving. Why? Because I'm terrified of skydiving. I don't even like heights for real. But I want to remove fear from my life. So the scarier things that I do, the more everything else just goes down levels and notches. So start facing your fears and watch how everything else just starts to become more confident about everything in life after that. Love you guys. Join the Discord, subscribe. I'll talk to you in the next video.